The expression to suffer from too much of a good thing is what perfectly illustrates why you might be suffering the ascension symptoms. And it is not only because of the good thing, it is mostly because it's happening too fast. I have developed a shock trauma a year ago, literally from too much of expansion, from too much of disillusionment, and from too much of what one might consider good thing. We suffer from ascension symptoms because we are so used to living in the physical world, organized by the slower energy of how things change very slowly. And today, nothing is happening very slowly. We are constantly exposed with the situation that expand our consciousness, and this is happening in the speed of light. My name is Gosia, and I have been studying mind-body sciences and energy for the last 9 years. This happened after I healed my body purely by the power of my mind and energy. And that's why I want to share these things with you, because all the things I speak about in my channel relate to ascension, relate to living in a flow, relate in living in a harmony, co-creating the life that you want. But it cannot be happening so fast without your awareness of why is it happening. Today I will be sharing with you the few reasons I understood through my own expansion and through my understanding of metaphysics and mind-body connection, and how energy makes the impact on our body. So I started by saying that we are so used to living in the physical world. The physical world, the material world, is what changes very slowly. The energy, the manifesting, that's why it takes so slowly, because it's physical, it's denser vibration. And as the information speeds up and exposes us to expand our consciousness, to expand our mind, to teach us what we need to learn in order to ascend, we are gaining this sort of disillusionment from what we're seeing and what we have witnessed in the physical world. So the gap is growing. The things that we have created, our world is so much different from how we see it right now, from what we perceive. And this happens because of the expansion. And expansion will be a better word to use rather than ascension, because it's all the same thing. We ascend because we expand. Using the word expansion will help you get your head around why we suffer so much. We have to literally stretch ourselves. And because we live in those physical bodies, we have to overcome this tension and that gap that has been created through the disillusionment. What kind of disillusionment I'm talking about? I started by saying I suffered a PTSD from a shock trauma from expanding too much. Certain information that came to me that expanded my consciousness were things that I knew unconsciously, and we all have access to unconscious knowledge at some level. But when we learn something from the outside and we are ready to receive this information, whether that's through observing, the disillusionment that's happening in maybe the running of the countries, how the governments are organized, maybe the force of control, maybe you're receiving information about the lies, maybe you are acknowledging the lies that have been going on in your family or in your relationship, maybe you have been exposed to something that made you think differently about your identity and it flooded your consciousness like it did to me. The thing is that when we learn and change gradually, we can integrate this, we can digest this, and we can process it. I speak in many of my videos how information, how stimuli from the outside is what we have to process. We literally have to digest it with our bodies. We have amazing bodies that can process a lot. And when too much is happening too soon, our bodies have no time to process it. That's why I can give you the first thing that we require when we ascend so fast. The need for sleep is so much increased, because in sleep, this is when we process things. This is when we process information, because we don't need our conscious mind. We actually shouldn't use our conscious mind to do this. We need a lot of sleep to process all this information that come from the outside. So I've just given you a context about why we suffer so much. Let me dive right into that first very important reason why we suffer from ascension symptoms. Your body, like all the material things, like all the physical things, is a crystallization of previous conscious and unconscious choices. Choices of thought, choices of belief, choices of action is what built your body, what has built your body. The choices of what you've been eating, this is what crystallized into your body. This is what contributed to how your digestion system works, how your muscles have developed. The choices of if you've been exercising, how you've been moving your body, how you've been using your body. It contributed and crystallized in the way how your breathing system works. It may be how you oxygenated your muscles, how your muscles and other systems have been oxygenated, how they've been nourished, how they formed. The thought forms, the beliefs, they crystallized in the way how you live your life. The limitations defined by those beliefs or thought patterns is what made you choose maybe your job. And your job in turn created an environment that you spend your time in. This created a sort of inner environment, how you respond to that job. The beliefs that you had about this place made you maybe stressed because you felt helpless, unworthy. That created tension in your body and some sort of imbalance. All these things, all the small, big choices of thoughts, emotions, beliefs, actions, such as the relationship that you have. Have you been constantly choosing that same person over and over, even if you felt maybe that is not right for you? Maybe you've suffered a lot. Maybe you suffered in the group of friends that you had. Maybe they didn't accept you fully, made you feel a bit stupid, or made you feel a bit like you didn't always belong. Or people in your environment, maybe your family, they constantly asked of you to self-sacrifice. And you did that because you chose to do that. You can say, I didn't choose it because they were unconscious choices. They are still choices. Unless you address the belief that you can change. And it again is a choice. Every day we take many, many choices that build our life. The programs that you watch, the news channels, the social media feed, the conversations that you engage in, how you respond to anything, how you respond to your stress, how you respond to fear. This is what created your body, and this is what created your whole environment. All these things, they display the gap in the growth of your mindset expansion. Your soul wants to expand, and it always is seeking to expand, is always in the journey of evolution that only we are stifling down through our choices. The choices that are based on fear, the choices that are based on attachment to the physical world. So grasping, scarcity, fear, calculating, strategizing, controlling, all these things contribute to building the denser kinds of choices that are detrimental to our evolution. So I speak in many of my videos how choices of misalignment is what brings us pain. This is a pain of separation from that higher consciousness that always asks for that evolution. It's not just at this time, but now it's happening faster because of the disillusionment I spoke about. So now we are being mirrored all these things, how we should aspire to live, how amazing things wait for us when we get to this point, maybe 5D level or whatever consciousness that you've been hearing. It's all here to be found through the conscious choices aligned to the highest potential. So if you've been habitually choosing the same things over, you've been having the same responses without much of thinking, but aspiring to ascend and have awareness of ascension, then this gap is what creates discomfort and symptoms. The ringing in your ears, the headaches, the dizziness, the queasy stomach, all these things are happening because your whole body, your nervous system, your adrenal system, your immune system, everything is being stretched very far out. Your physical world basically is not matching what you have in your mind right now. You haven't integrated all these things, like I said before. You haven't caught up with what you have in mind that is waiting for you. It's been happening all too fast, and that's why you have discomfort, because you are constantly surrounded by this physical world. That's why so many people, spiritual people, and they have this spiritual bypassing thing going on, that they all the time dream about the 5D consciousness and all these things, but they neglect what is here and now. And by doing this, all they're doing, they're just increasing the gap. We were given this physical body to master through using our energy, emotions, thoughts, and beliefs to create heaven right here. The new earth is happening right here. It's nowhere else. If I was to summarize the main reason why we have the ascension symptoms, it is because of our perfectly humane need to control ourselves and to control the world around us. It is our inability to trust and let go of the need to control the unfolding of the things that we are getting disillusioned about and the uncertainty that comes behind it. So the fear that we are feeling causes us to resist life, causes us to resist. And this is what's causing that stretch, that separation from the source energy that asks us to trust. Because of that fear, we are unable to make our choices based on trust, those higher choices. So we cannot spiritually bypass the earthly curriculum. We still have to learn the basics. How to trust yourself, how to feel worthy, how to love yourself, how to deal healthy in relating with others, how to go about earning money harmoniously and in alignment, so that there is no mismatch, that you're acting from fear of scarcity, from all the things that you are thinking that are going to happen wrong, but you believing in spirituality and all that. So you're constantly being asked to trust and to surrender. And trust me, I make my own mistakes. I speak about them often enough, I think. And I make these videos for you to not having to go through the same lessons, and for me to remind myself that we get to make mistakes, we get to correct them, and we get to forgive ourselves. But the most important thing is that we learned the lesson, that we have the lesson, we analyze the lesson, and we can move on. This is where I'm getting to. What can you do about this? You need to take care of your garden. You need to take care of your home, your body, your immediate environment. Take choices that are aligned to the higher self. What would my highest self do? What would my highest self eat? What would my highest self do about this job? What would she or he do about this relationship? How would they behave in day-to-day choices? Would they keep going to the same job, or would they follow their passion? They would trust, they would believe that they're meant for bigger things. They would live the life of joy, not calculating and strategizing how to get more people in, how to persuade more people in, whatever they want to persuade them, how to control their environment through grasping and this physical approach that we've been taught. So align your choices that build your body, that build your world, to your core self, to your highest self beliefs. If you're unsure how to do it, I will post some videos here in the description about beliefs, how you change your emotions based on constant realignment to your higher self. You can do it starting from right now. The second reason why you might be suffering the ascension symptoms is maybe because you haven't delved into deeper traumas. Traumas have a tendency to pull us down when we want to go up. Again, the symptoms happen because you've got trauma and the tension grows. Okay, you want to be here, you want to be constantly here. You don't want to be there. You don't want to be dealing with all these things. You want to be thinking about all the things that the guided meditation tell you, all the beautiful worlds, all the heavenly light, all these things. Really, very few people want to focus at this point on going back to their childhood problems, going back to grief, going back to letting go of their pain. But these are exactly the things that build the foundation for the home you want to live in. You need to clear these things all the time. You got to be clearing them, and they become more demanding. They ask more of your attention when you start ascending, because you can't ignore these different parts of you. They are what have built you. So you need to release them. You need to unchain them so that you can ascend. Because this is like a ball and chain at your feet, okay? You are constantly being dragged down by the density of these thought forms. They actually live in your body. That's why many physical ailments, they have a perfect metaphor into explaining what needs to be done. For example, you could be having heavy chest or breathing problems. You need to let go of your grief. You had constipation or something like that. You need to let go of old regrets, of old relationships. You have to forgive maybe. things like that have a very direct symbolic meaning for you. You can follow what kind of symptoms you might be having, and maybe you can share them here in the comments below, because usually they're very direct messages that come from our body that ask about some things that we've been trying to forget and just be, you know, very functional and be very kind of cool and ascended and be very spiritual. But you're rushing it. You're rushing it. You're neglecting that inner child that still needs to be taken care of, that is voicing their pain, their fears through the body and through negative emotions, because these are all equivalent. All the negative emotions are where the inner child asks for your attention. When it doesn't happen, it goes deep into your body, we repress it, and it just lives there. Okay, so this is just very top line explanation. So what can you do about this reason? Well, of course, you want to look at shadow work. You want to express your emotions in a healthy way. Journaling is the best way. Moving your body in the way that it wants to move. Allowing yourself to stretch and to breathe into creating more space as you regularly, consistently, you know, make small fragments of time to express your emotions. Have a journal when you just expel all your rage and pain. And even if you convince yourself, but I have no anger, but I have no fear, I'm just so spiritual, I have no anger, I'm just so positive. Well, I want you to ask yourself twice before you say this, because I had so many clients that were physically sick, that were perfectly positive, and all they needed to do is to face their repressed rage. Not to stay there for a long time. 15 minutes at any given time is enough. Do it daily. You will remove all that baggage. You will just put it there. You will just, you know, clear the pathways to ascension. You will clear your body from that junk that you're trying to build upon, that you're trying to ascend from. And I love using that metaphor to create a beautiful castle, to create your beautiful home that you want to live in, this new earth. You need the proper foundation. You need to clear the foundation. You need to prepare the foundation. Clear it from the junk, okay? The third reason that I'm going to give you is very important. It is to do with your intuition and not listening to it. So many people look out for people to tell them, why am I feeling this way? Oh, are these ascension symptoms? What should I do about them? How should I meditate? What should I do now? What this person will tell me right now? And outsourcing your guidance to someone else. So you're giving a bit of your power to this person to tell you what to do. You're giving a little bit of your power to that person to tell you how to meditate. You give your power to that person to tell you how to run your business. You give a bit of that power to your partner to tell you that you're worthy. You give that power, and I could go on and on. You give your power to that person to tell you that you should change your diet to ascend, that you should drink the green juice, or you should fast. And only this way you will ascend. Okay, so you've given all that power. You are completely disconnected from your higher self that is constantly like this fountain of information that all it cares about for you to ascend and to evolve. And it constantly whispers to you through your emotions, mostly through your emotions, how you're aligned with it. Your vibration meaning the predominant state, how you feel, and your emotion, how you're feeling at any given moment, is exactly telling you what you should do right now. If you have any negative emotions, if you have fear, if you are worried, if you are concerned, you are not aligned with it. Okay? When you align with it, when you listen in, not listening out, this is when you start receiving all the guidance to bring you closer to that spring that elevates you. It always guides you on exactly the next thing that is needed for you. And it can be counterintuitive. That's why you have to validate yourself over and over and over. Because your body might be telling you, your spirit might be telling you something that is different from all other teachers. That's why I created this whole channel. I want you to align to your highest potential. Only then you can ascend. Only then you can live in a flow. Only then you can create from heart your heaven here. Okay? I'm not joking. This is the only way. And you might be asking yourself, how does she know these things? Can I trust it? Like all these kind of questions. I get this asked sometimes, and honestly, it's not because I read it in some books, it's not because I listened to spiritual teachers for many years, it's not because I put these things together and now I'm sharing. It just flows from me because this is based on my own experience. I know this because I didn't follow others. Okay? And there is always room for improvement, but I've developed such sensitivity to my senses and to my inner knowing that I can most definitely be guided from inwards all of the time. I don't listen to anything or to anyone. And you know, I recommend this to you as well, that you self-validate so much. You ask yourself first, always, before you ask someone else. Like you asking about your business, you asking about your job, you Googling, how do I do this? All the time, self-doubting, invalidating your opinion, invalidating your own kind of hunch, how you might be able to do it. Whenever you ask a question first to someone else about how you can do something, you literally add to self-doubt. You literally add to disempowerment because you place that power. Oh my God, this person will tell me what to do. Oh, maybe Google will tell me what to do. Oh, this, you know, this group of people, this authority will definitely tell me what to do. Ask yourself first. Please, please, please do this. This is what I'm doing and this is what changed my life. And you know, it doesn't mean you will be right in the universal truth about others, but you will be true when it comes to you, when it comes to yourself. That's why you need to self-validate no matter what. Because the messages you get from your spirit, from your core self, could be different from what you're hearing from all the smart people on the outside. It might tell you that instead of what you're thinking, what they tell you, to drink all the green juices and to fast, you actually should eat something completely different. Maybe you should eat more rice. Maybe you should eat more of this kind of food. Maybe you should eat cooked foods only instead of raw juices and raw vegetables. Maybe you were taught that having a raw diet is the best for you. But you have cold body. You feel cold. And your body is asking you to kindle some fire in it. So you need to eat only cooked foods then. You need to warm it up with spices. Listen to your body. Listen to your highest self that tells you through how it feels. Approach any food and ask yourself, is this right for me? And listen to the inner kind of sounds, how they come out. What comes out might actually surprise you. And this is what you need to validate. I'm not saying you're right about everything and everyone, but you will be mostly right. And as you experiment, you will be very likely right about all these things that concern you. And then you will be always right with all the decisions you take in your life, all the choices, when you listen to your heart over a period of time and you learn to listen to its voice. You're not listening to your head that whispers to you all the conditioned messages. When you need to justify something, this means you shouldn't be doing this, because you have to convince yourself. You have to override what you know. That's why you have to justify. Okay, this is a good tip for you to remember. So now, how to resolve this reason for the symptoms to be created? Because you're misaligned, again, the tension is growing and the symptoms are telling you align, align, align. Okay? Listen to your body. Listen to what's right for you. If you need to sleep more, sleep more. Don't try to convince yourself that it's very spiritual to wake up at 4 a.m. and meditate if you really want to sleep, okay? If your body needs to process, if it needs to process all that information, all the disillusionment, all the new things that you've learned, you need to integrate, you need to process. And your body needs time to do it. So give it time. Listen to what your body, what your emotions, what your higher self teaches you. This is the guidance I have for you. This is the principle I have for you. However that will look like, the action steps, it's going to be very personal. It's going to be very subjective. That's why I try to avoid to give like to-do things. I give you examples so that you are empowered from within, that no one can manipulate you from the outside. You need to create your own bubble. Don't listen to all these people just because you're used to. Look at your social media. Look at what feed are you following. Are you still listening to news? Are you feeding and fueling all the conspiracy theories? You're going to be perfectly fine when you go deep and listen from within. You're not going to be safer when you listen to all these things, how they tell you to prepare yourself for the worst period that we're going to have in physical world, because this is what you're fueling. You want to fuel the belief of the new earth that you want to subscribe to. So you can't be doing these two opposite things to fuel fear-mongering beliefs and fuel the belief of the beautiful existence here on this planet. You can't do both. Because your body has a tendency to react more towards those materially oriented, the physically oriented fears. Because we're conditioned, we have muscle memory of being trained for years and decades of our time to reacting to these. It's a very short circuit. We are very reactive to those things. That's why detaching yourself from all these external sources that tell us is going to get you so much more energy. I promise you, you're not going to be safer when you listen to that next astrology reading. You're not going to be more prepared when you listen or read to that conspiracy theory article. You will be more prepared when you train yourself to communicate with your higher self, because we will always guide you through, no matter what kind of difficulties there are happening on the outside, when you know what's the next right step for me. This is how I lived for the last year uncompromising 100% choices based on courage, trust, love, no matter of what uncertainty, no matter of what people were telling me. This is crazy. You're never gonna get there. You're never gonna get this. I was like, talk to the hands, living in my bubble. And I got this, and I got this, and I got this. And I was ascending and ascending and ascending by listening to what I feel like, what feels the best thing to align with right now, what feels like the more joyous activity I can engage with now, what feels like the more loving, the more trusting belief for me to subscribe to right now. And decide on it. Just make up your mind, it's yours. You don't have to feel it yet. Decide it's yours because it's yours. All the limiting beliefs, all they do is just keep us down to fear, scarcity, revenge, all these lower vibrating emotions. This is all they do. They are focused on the fear of survival. We don't have to focus on survival. Ascension is all about thriving, trusting, believing. So make your thoughts, make your beliefs, make your actions, all the choices match what you want to live in, what reality you're choosing, and do everything. All the choices. You can always make a small choice of the way I perceive this situation, how I'm thinking about this. Oh, I think I'm not believing what is true to my core self about this. I'm going to change it. As you do those changes, your ascension will be way, way smoother. I have no ascension symptoms right now because I aligned to my highest self, to my core self. I was able to heal post-traumatic stress disorder in the matter of months, just by doing that, choice by choice, constantly choosing to align myself more. This is what I've been doing. You start gliding. There is no resistance, no things that are holding you back. It's like a fast track. Believe me, when you align to your core self, to your higher self, it elevates you. And it's like smooth transition. This is where you are going up when you don't suffer all these things, when you're just like doubting, questioning, seeking approval, asking these people about these things. Okay, you're constantly scattered. You're allowing these things that are part of the physical construct that has been created dictate what will define your future. So you have to just make up your mind which path you're following. You can't do both. And your symptoms will clear as you do all these things. Self-validation, working with your beliefs, working on your emotions, all these things will clear out your ascension symptoms. You fear not. Physical body is just a manifestation of your choices. So choose right. I'm going to post some videos here that you can watch that will help you resolve all these things. Thank you for watching. Have a good time experimenting and see you in the next video.